480 BC. The narrow mountain pass of Thermopylae trembled beneath the footsteps of the largest army the ancient world had ever seen. Thousands of Persian soldiers closed in from every direction. At the center of the battlefield stood one man, King Leonidas of Sparta. He knew there would be no escape. He knew he would never see his home again. Yet he never ordered a retreat. Beside him stood only a handful of exhausted warriors, ready to make their final stand against the greatest empire on earth. For centuries, movies, legends, and stories have told us about the 300 Spartans, but they rarely tell the complete story. Some parts were exaggerated, some were left out entirely. Today, we're uncovering what really happened, the history behind the legend. Who was Leonidas? Why did only 300 Spartans march to Thermopylae? And how did a battle that ended in defeat become one of the greatest symbols of courage in human history? This is the true story of Leonidas in the Battle of Thermopylae. To understand Leonidas, we must first understand Sparta. Unlike most cities in ancient Greece, Sparta existed for one purpose: war. From the age of 7, Spartan boys entered the agoge, one of the harshest military training systems in history. They were taught to fight, to endure hunger, to survive pain, and to obey without hesitation. Comfort meant weakness. Discipline meant survival. Leonidas was born into one of Sparta's royal families, but he was never expected to become king. The throne was meant for his older brothers. So Leonidas trained like every other Spartan. He marched for miles with little food. He slept outdoors. He mastered the spear and shield, and he earned respect through courage, not privilege. Fate, however, had other plans. After the deaths of his brothers, Leonidas unexpectedly became king of Sparta. He did not rule from behind palace walls. He fought beside his soldiers. He shared their hardships, and because of that, they trusted him with their lives. Far to the east, another ruler was preparing for war. His name was Xerxes, the king of kings, ruler of the mighty Persian Empire. His empire stretched across 3 continents and ruled millions of people. His armies included cavalry, archers, engineers, warships, and the legendary elite guard known as the Immortals. Years earlier, Persia had suffered a humiliating defeat at Marathon. Xerxes intended to erase that humiliation forever. He ordered one of the largest military invasions the ancient world had ever seen. His mission was simple: conquer Greece, crush every city that resisted, and prove that no nation could stand against the Persian Empire. As news of the invasion spread, fear swept across Greece. Some cities prepared to surrender. Others argued over what to do. But in Sparta, one king had already made his decision. His name was Leonidas.
We will meet them at Thermopylae.
The Persian invasion was growing closer with every passing day. Messengers arrived from across Greece carrying the same terrifying news. Villages had fallen. Cities were preparing for war. The largest army anyone had ever seen was marching toward them. But Sparta faced another problem. A sacred religious festival called the Carnea had begun. According to Spartan law, the entire army could not march to war until the festival had ended. Many believed Sparta would stay behind its walls and wait. Leonidas refused. If the Persians reached the heart of Greece unopposed, countless cities would fall. There was only one place where a small force could slow a massive army: the narrow pass of Thermopylae. There, the mountains met the sea. The passage was so narrow that the Persians could never use their full strength. Leonidas knew numbers would matter far less in that battlefield. Then he made a decision that would be remembered forever. He chose just 300 Spartan warriors, not because Sparta had only 300 soldiers, but because these were among the finest warriors in Greece. Each man was highly trained. Each had proven himself in battle. And according to ancient tradition, each was chosen because he already had a living son to carry on his family name. They understood exactly what this mission meant. Few believed they would ever return home, yet not one of them refused. Before leaving Sparta, many embraced their families for what would be the final time. There were no grand speeches, no celebrations, only quiet determination. The 300 marched north with King Leonidas at their head. Along the way, they were joined by thousands of warriors from other Greek city-states. Men from Thespia, Tegia, Corinth, Phocis, and many others answered the call. In total, nearly 7,000 Greek soldiers gathered at Thermopylae. They came from different cities, different traditions, different rulers, but they stood together for one purpose: to stop the Persian invasion. When Leonidas finally reached the narrow pass, he carefully studied the land. Towering cliffs rose on one side, the sea lay on the other. It was the perfect place for a small army to face a much larger one. Soon, the dust of the approaching Persian army appeared on the horizon. The battle that would change history was about to begin. As the Persian army approached Thermopylae, the earth itself seemed to shake. Columns of soldiers stretched beyond the horizon. Archers, cavalry, engineers, supply wagons, thousands upon thousands of warriors marched beneath the banners of the Persian Empire. Watching from above was King Xerxes. He believed victory was already his. To him, the Greeks were hopelessly outnumbered. The battle would be over before the day was done. But before ordering the attack, Xerxes made one final attempt to avoid a fight. He sent a royal messenger to the Greek camp. The messenger rode alone through the narrow pass until he stood before King Leonidas. His message was simple: lay down your weapons and live. For a moment, the battlefield fell completely silent. Every Spartan waited for their king's answer. Leonidas took one calm step forward. He looked directly into the messenger's eyes. Then he answered with two words that would echo through history.
Molon labe. Come and take them.
The messenger turned his horse and rode back to the Persian camp.
My king, Leonidas has answered. He said, Molon labe.
Then we advance.
He ordered the first wave to attack. At sunrise, thousands of Persian soldiers advanced toward the narrow pass. The sound of marching boots echoed through the valley. War drums thundered across the mountains. Dust filled the air. Ahead of them stood only 300 Spartans, with thousands of Greek allies positioned behind and beside them. Leonidas slowly raised his spear. No speeches, no fear, just one silent command: hold the line. Every Spartan locked his shield with the warrior beside him. Together, they formed an unbreakable wall of bronze. The first Persian wave charged. The ground trembled, spears collided, shields crashed. The narrow pass erupted into chaos. But the Spartan line never moved. Again and again, the Persians attacked. Again and again, they were forced back. What Xerxes believed would be an easy victory was becoming a nightmare. The greatest army on earth could not break the Greek line. Hour after hour, the fighting continued. The Persian army attacked again and again, but every assault ended the same way. The Greek line held. The narrow pass had become Leonidas's greatest weapon. No matter how many soldiers Xerxes sent forward, only a small number could fight at once. The Spartans fought as one. Every shield protected the man beside it. Every spear struck with precision. Every step was perfectly disciplined. For 2 days, the Persian army failed to break through. Watching from his command platform, Xerxes could hardly believe what he was seeing. His greatest army had been stopped by a force a fraction of its size. Furious, he summoned his most feared warriors, the Immortals. 10,000 elite soldiers, trained from childhood and considered the finest warriors in the Persian Empire. If anyone could break the Greek line, it would be them. The Immortals marched into the narrow pass with complete confidence, but even they could not break the Spartan phalanx. The fighting became even more brutal. Yet Leonidas and his warriors refused to give ground. As another day came to an end, it seemed impossible that the Persians would ever pass through Thermopylae. But while Leonidas defended the narrow pass, something far more dangerous was happening behind the mountains. A local Greek named Ephialtes approached the Persian camp. He knew of a hidden mountain path, a path that led around the Greek defenses. For a reward, he revealed the secret to Xerxes. That night, thousands of Persian soldiers quietly marched through the darkness, following Ephialtes along the hidden trail. Before sunrise, the Greeks received devastating news. The Persians were no longer only in front of them, they were behind them, too. Leonidas immediately understood what it meant. The battle could no longer be won. But the mission had already succeeded. The Greek city-states had been given precious time to prepare for the invasion. Leonidas gathered his allies. He ordered most of the Greek army to withdraw and live to fight another day. Then he made one final decision. He would stay, and so would his Spartans. Alongside them remained hundreds of brave Thespians and a small force of Thebans. Together they prepared for one final stand against an empire. As the sun rose over Thermopylae, Leonidas and the remaining defenders prepared for their final battle. They knew there would be no rescue, no reinforcements, no road home. Yet no one abandoned his place in the line. The Persians attacked from the front. At the same time, thousands more descended from the mountain path behind them. The Greeks were surrounded. Even then, they refused to surrender. The Spartans fought with unmatched discipline. When their spears shattered, they drew their swords. When their swords were lost, they fought with whatever remained. Ancient historians tell us the fighting was relentless. Some of the fiercest combat centered around King Leonidas himself. Somewhere in the chaos, Leonidas was killed. His death did not end the battle. His warriors fought even harder to recover and defend the body of their king. Again and again, they drove the Persians back. But the sheer weight of numbers could not be stopped forever. One by one, the defenders fell. By the end of the battle, Leonidas, his 300 Spartans, the brave Thespians who chose to stay, and many others had given their lives. The Persians captured the pass. On paper, Xerxes had won, but victory came at a terrible cost. His army had lost thousands of soldiers against a force only a tiny fraction of its size. More importantly, the stand at Thermopylae gave the Greek city-states valuable time to prepare their defenses. Only weeks later, the Greek fleet achieved a decisive victory at Salamis. The following year, the Persian invasion was finally defeated at Plataea. The sacrifice at Thermopylae had helped change the course of history. Today, more than 2,500 years later, the name Leonidas is still remembered. Not because he won the battle, but because he showed the world that courage is not measured by the odds. It is measured by the willingness to stand for what you believe, even when the outcome is certain. The 300 Spartans became legends, not because they were invincible, but because they proved that a handful of determined people can inspire generations. Their story continues to remind us that some defeats become greater victories in history. And that is why the last stand at Thermopylae is still told today. Want more true stories that shaped our world? You're in the right place. History Reborn brings cinematic historical documentaries every week. Subscribe and uncover the untold stories that history never forgot.